Just stand up and point it down the mountain. That's all snowboarding is, right? Wrong. What up, Shredder? Most people, when they come to snowboarding from another board sport, they think it looks pretty easy. I mean, you're strapped in. How hard could it be, right? But the one thing they're forgetting about is edge control. And beginners aren't the only ones. Even for veterans, edge catches can be like a predator sneaking up on you in the middle of the night. The moment you turn your back and get a little lazy, pow, it hits you hard. Today, we're going to talk about 5 types of edge catchers on the mountain and remind you to always keep your downhill edge up. Let's get into it. Okay, edge catcher type 1, the early turner. The early turner knows how to heel side turn. They know how to toe side turn. They just don't quite know how to go from one to the other. Usually a beginner, the early turner does not realize that you have to go flat-based before transitioning to the opposite edge. As a result, they often go directly from the uphill edge to the downhill edge when making a transition, which results in a self-inflicted edge catch, and their first introduction to the need for wrist guards and butt pads as a beginner. If they could just learn to add a little flat base in between, they'd be fine. But alas, that requires picking up great amounts of speed, so they attempt to go directly from one edge to the other. The second type of edge catcher is the lazy turner. This person thinks they can make their turns flat base without putting any pressure on their edges. Sure, they've got the turn and their body down, but they're doomed to failure for riding without any pressure on the edges. And as a result, even bystanders can tell ahead of time when they are in for an edge catch. In fact, most of the time it's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Their downhill edge spitting up snow and onlookers biting their nails waiting for the edge catch to happen. It even happens to the best of us when trying out a new snowboard with softer torsional flex than we're used to. To prevent it, the lazy turner needs to make sure there's an inch or two of lift on the downhill edge at all times, or suffer the wrath with the lazy turn. Edge catcher type 3 is the butter bro. This rider is more advanced than your average edge catcher, but they still ride just beyond their ability levels. Either that, or they're having a bad day. They haven't learned the art of the save, and as a result, when they don't get their trick around, their old ways of catching an edge comes right back. Seen most often in the half-completed butter, this rider does a perfect butter only to neglect to rotate fully out of the butter and get tossed by their downhill edge, often accompanied by the groans of onlookers. Heck, even I'm guilty of sometimes being the butter bro. The fourth type of edge catcher is the scorpion. This type of rider comes out in droves on pow days, but can also be spotted in slush and the landings of jumps. The scorpion fails to roll over their front shoulder and as a result arches their back in a way that puts fear into the hearts of all fellow riders. The antidote to the scorpion is to always tuck the front shoulder, to roll back up to your feet without sending all momentum straight into the middle of your spine. The scorpion is dangerous for obvious reasons and should be avoided at all costs. And lastly, the fifth type of edge catcher is the reluctant rail rider. And I say reluctant because there's nothing a rail catch loves more than half commitment from a rider. Either not fully committed to a proper 90-degree board slide, that 45 degrees where the edges just digs right in, or that rider who snuck into the park with freshly tuned edges, or thought they could get away with a lip slide even though they're riding their POW board. It's the reason you often see me sticking to straight 50-50s with a fresh deck and why full commitment is always required on rails. But the truth is, none of us can avoid the rail edge catch forever. You put metal on metal for long enough and it's bound to happen to even the most experienced riders. And sometimes, rust makes a special appearance and gets even the most seasoned gibber. That's it, 5 types of edge catchers you see on the mountain. Number 1, the early turner. Number 2, the lazy turner. Number 3, the butter bro. Number 4, the scorpion. And number 5, the reluctant rail rider. And remember, I don't mean to call anyone out, I've been all 5 of these edge catchers, probably within the last year, and I bet you have too. Throw it in the comments, when's the last time you caught an edge, and which one was it? That's all for today. Peace out, Shredder.